The following video is a tutorial video for Karazhan on TBC, not meant to be used for any other server. Hello everyone. This stream is going to be uploaded to YouTube and cut and modified in certain places to show boss fights on TBC 5-man. Its main purpose is education, knowledge, whatever. If you have any questions, please ask. I'm not afraid to answer them. There are, of course, more, probably better, if I had to guess, strategies to do everything that I'm doing. I do it this way because this is the way that has worked for me. Like I said, this main purpose of this stream is an education stream. All boss fights are going to be clipped and redone. So if I pause at a boss fight, it's because I'm preparing to get it clipped and send it off to be reprocessed. So it can be just listed as like a tunesman kill or something like that, versus having to watch the full stream for each kill. And just to show you, my tank is not uberly utterly geared. I mean, I'm T4 for the most part. I got Thunder Fury is about my only good weapon. I think I'm missing some enchants or have wrong enchants. This character is not like decked out by any means necessary, and that's the same with all my characters. Most, I don't want to say all, but most of my gear was got by myself. Some of it was help from my guild, Clueless. Yeah, so let's get started with some Karazhan. Some fun times. I do have a lot of Nauru things. I believe it's a good cause to donate, then donate. And I like the server, I like what it's about, so I've donated quite a bit to them. The Nauru is about the only thing I've donated for, though. And the repair bots and the drums, because, drums are awesome. So first things first, if you're a tank, come in here and grab the Scroll of Wisdoms and Scroll of Judge Wisdom and the Scroll of the Wind. Gives you Wind Fear on your weapons. Very useful, especially if you have aggro horrors for DPSs like I do. And sometimes this happens too. My other clients don't see my tank right now. I have to zone my tank out and bring him back in. Happens. The programs I use are Hotkey Network, with everything macro bound to different buttons and stuff. And there'll be a link inside the YouTube video to the guy who actually made Hotkey Network and all the keys with it. It's Fury Swipes. A lot of people have heard of him before. I use his 5-minute multi-boxing thing to, multi-boxing. You as well can be boxing in 5 minutes if you use his multi-boxing system. It's legit. It's awesome. It's fun. Let's get started. I am multi-boxing. My other windows aren't brought up. You can only see my tank window, and that's because if I have the other windows brought up, it causes some lag on stream and stuff. So if you see the tank window start lagging, it's because I'm in a different window. I clicked out to do something on one of my other screens. I keep loot in free-for-all. None of my characters need any of the trash drops from here, so there's no point for me having loot on any other things. And when you pull the stable hands or get the stable hands, they need to die first. I guess not need to, but they should die first because they heal the horses. If not, when you have just the horses, the charger should die first because the charger is the one who can fear. And if you don't have 2 shamans like I do, the fear is pretty annoying. Even with 2 shamans, the fear is annoying. Half the time it doesn't fucking cancel my fear, which I'm confused about, but I mean, whatever. Like, the fear will last its full duration instead of wearing off after a couple seconds, even with 2 tremor totems down on different pulsating settings. So. The majority of the back rows that I have come from people inside TBC stream, or TBC Discord. A lot of them were linked, and I just kind of copied, modified, and changed the ones that I needed to change. The major ones that you should change with, if you have the classes that I have, would be your Shadow Priest. His script is based purely off his haste. If he has low haste, then there's a macro that was posted that's really good. If he has high haste, then go with Mistos, or I can't really pronounce his name, go with his, because he has Shadow Priest that's like 200 and something haste, and that's the macro you'd want to use for that. There are plenty of times in this run where you'll see my Elemental Shaman or my Warlock pull aggro off my tank. Elemental Shamans, when they crit, they're big boy crits. Most of the time I don't have enough time to get aggro back, so they usually just die, and I just let them attack them while I heal them. Bosses are another thing that I constantly lose aggro on. Maiden of Virtue is really notorious for it because she silences, and that's all freaking paladins do is cast spells. So you get kind of cucked, which is really unfortunate, but it happens. You'll also occasionally see that my Warlock Seed of Corruptions at like the worst opportune time, like it doesn't make sense for him to cast Seed. That's because his Seed is on 3, and my Seal and Judgment is on 3 as well. So because I do Seal and Judge a lot, he ends up seeding a lot. It's kind of something to get used to over the time, I guess. And for those wondering, no, I'm not smoking weed, I'm smoking hookah. Middle Eastern flavored tobacco. Fills with the water pipe, a lot healthier than cigarettes, etc., etc., etc. I'm not going to go into it, though. You'll also notice if you look at my screen, sometimes you'll see like the trinkets being used on all my characters. That's because my Shift 4, my Alt 4, which is my follow button, just so happens to be my use it all button too. 4 is my use it all button, and currently with the program I use, there's no way to separate the two, which is really unfortunate, but it happens. That was target, not line of sight on my healer. Oh yeah, sure enough, he got feared halfway across the frickin' world, didn't he? That's unfortunate. I might actually die. Maybe not, though. Maybe not. Might get lucky here. Might pick this back up and not die. That was a good recovery. And every time I die, even if it's on a non-essential character, I will summon out the Naru just to get all the buffs again. Keep everybody on the same timer so I don't have to worry about constantly rebuffing different timers and stuff. So, so right about now I spread everybody out, get them in real positions and stuff before the fight. I don't ever pull the 5-pit group. Almost every time I do, it ends up in a death. So I just found a way to work around it. And it looks like the kill for what's his face is going to start at 10:40. So see, I pulled with Judgment of Wisdom through the wall, and then I give my tank a little bit of time to get some aggro because, you know, reasons. And then when the Master comes out, I don't have anybody attack for a minute while I get aggro. Usually after a Thunder Fury proc, if I'm still wearing Thunder Fury in this fight, I usually just go again. You can choose to use Heroism here or not, it's really your choice. You can wait till they combine together, or you can use it now. It doesn't really matter. I always use drums though. Some of the times in this fight I just completely forget to use Heroism at all, so I guess I'll use it now. %, they go together. I stop all my DPS. Give my tank a couple seconds to pick everything back up. Usually when I'm about 5,000, 6,000 threat over here, I just resume again and just go. I'll occasionally jump halfway through the fight to use trinkets and stuff if they haven't been used. Some of the times it doesn't work. Other times it does. Just kind of depends on if they want to be finicky or not today. But yeah, and then I just finish out the kill. Kill was done at 12:18. Again, I don't ever have on group loot for these fights because I know the fights, so it's not really worth it. My priest is my disenchanter, so you'll see my priest run up and start looting the mob after I checked my paladin to see if there's anything anyone needs. There's very few items I need from Karazhan still, but if those items do ever drop, then, you know, hooray. And all that was me alt-tabbing out to write down when the boss's fight was, so I can clip it later. They get stuck a lot on those pillars, just, you know, alt-tab over to them and move them out. These trash pulls are like the bane of my existence. I've gotten a lot better at them over the time. I know how to do them successfully now. This is basically all the Warlock. I run up and aggro and run around here and toss down Consecration and throw out a couple heals on myself to make sure I don't die. And while Consecration is ticking, I just start spamming 3, which again 3 is my judgment on my Paladin, but my Seed of Corruption on my Warlock. And then eventually it goes off and they all die, except for the elites, which by this time is really hard to get them off the Warlock unless I taunt. I think as a servants, they do a mind control. You just gotta watch out for them. But I don't use my DPS at all to kill the non-elites, just because it takes forever. That's the way I used to do, was use my entire group to kill all of them, but it takes too long. So I just use the Warlock now. I also have click to move on. It's a hindrance sometimes, but a godsend other times. If I'm too lazy to walk up to a corpse and loot it, then click to walk will, you know, do it for me. The elite packs I just pull with shield or exorcism or just whatever. I just pull with whatever I can, and then just start DPSing. I don't usually seed on these ones unless the Warlock gets caught up in the 3 when I'm doing my judgment or my Seal of Righteousness, which is what I use for tanking, is Seal of Righteousness. So you'll see occasionally one of them will get mind controlled. I just alt-tab back to that window and put them back down with the group. It's no big deal. Doesn't hurt anything. So these guys, they can attack you on certain LOSs, like around the pillar. So you'll see that I run around a couple times just to make sure they're all grouped up before I start in on my Seed of Corruption spam. And what procs the Seed of Corruption is my Judgment and Seal of Righteousness and Thunder Fury procs. But when it does proc, like it's going to right there, everything just dies, like instantly. So. Notice the Shadow Priest doesn't really do a lot of damage on trash. It doesn't stay alive long enough for the Shadow Priest's rotation to really go off. Really unfortunate. I usually get a Vampiric touch, a Mind Blast, and a Shadow Word Pain off before they die. Sometimes not even that. Sometimes I'll be lucky enough to get off a Shadow Word Pain and Vampiric touch. That's why the Warlock and the Elemental Shaman are really good. The only totems I really keep down for sure on the Shaman is the Totem of Wrath during Trash Pulls, because the rest of them are just kind of moot points. And my macro only triggers whenever there's no monsters. So. And for this one I usually pull both, just to get the annoying parts out of the way. And I always clear all the trash before Moros's room, like on the way to Opera and stuff, just so I don't have to deal with it later. I can just go right from Moros to starting in on Opera trash. And sometimes that happens too. And sometimes that happens too, where it just doesn't go off correctly and I have to deal with cleanup. Not everything's perfect. In a perfect world I wouldn't have to do that, but this is not a perfect world. Valets are the worst. They're immune to taunt. They hit really hard on people that aren't tanks. So I usually just end up spamming chain heal on this to make sure they survive. Yeah, all I'm doing is pressing one button. Just pressing two. And I'm not paying attention to my tank's health apparently. There we go. And sometimes my Blessing of Sanctuary just kind of wears off. Or gets overridden with all the buffs I get. I don't really know what happens. A lot of people go inside this room to pull out the trash and kill it, like when you're in regular groups, but in multi-boxing groups, it's best if you tuck everybody in this corner. Just for the health. Interesting. Anyway, I tuck everyone in that corner just for the sheer fact of I can pull everything LOS and it can all die at the same time, so I don't have to worry about anything. And usually if I see those skeleton bastards, I pull them first, always, which usually gets the other group, or the first group. Yep, there it goes. I try to get the skeletons alone. They're 200% debuff to armor, or whatever the hell it is really freaking annoying. Hurts really bad too. It can actually make it, I have died on this trash more times than I can count, because they'll apply that debuff to me, and the trash, between the trash and how hard the skeleton hits, I just drop dead. Some of the times you'll have to walk back a little bit while pressing your DPS buttons to get the mobs to follow you so you can kill their face. Like I said, doing it this way, they all follow you back. They don't really have a choice but to follow you back. So it makes things a lot easier to maintain. Oops. Luckily, these guys don't make you drunk like they do in a live. That's one of the changes that he did to trash, which I'm very thankful for, because that was always a bitch. Come on, get him too. Yay. If you're having issue on these trash packs, like if you're first starting out and you have issues on them, it's best to pull the waiters separate than the guests and try to get the guests one group at a time. And again, if you don't have the gear on the warlock or the gear on the tank to tank them for the extended amount of time that you do, just single target them down. Even in low gear, they die in seconds. They have 6,000 hit points, which is nothing. And then once all the table mobs are dead, I bring everybody inside. I'm going to park everybody in between these two chairs, basically right in front of the stairs. And bring everyone up who's not following, of course. Which only has to be my elemental shaman this time. And don't forget about the other two mobs on the side. Or the 4 mobs, technically. I pulled the other 2 already. Mana up. Looks like I'm starting the Moros at 24, 25-ish. So for the Moros fight, Moros fight's pretty simple. It really depends on what setup you have. This one's actually not that bad. When you're first starting out, it's a really good idea to make macros, like target whoever you want to target and then CC them. There's 1 or 2 of them that are immune. I don't remember which ones are immune. You can get magic dust for 1 token of achievement and 1 gold off of the token of achievement vendor. Shadow priest can shackle. Regular priest can shackle. I think you can fear. I think. By paladin and warlock. I'm at the point in my gear level where I don't need to do that. The best thing to do for this fight is to put down a poison cleansing totem, because his blind is poison, and it's best just break him out. If you have this combo, or a combo like it, basically whenever you have a Shadow Priest, it needs to die first. Kyria is the paladin healer. I wouldn't really worry about her. She's kind of a bitch because she bubbles all the time. And then Lady, whatever the hell this person's name is, Katoria, whatever, she needs to die second. After that, I usually ignore the ads and kill Morose until Morose vanishes, and then I start killing the ads again. And just keep that up the entire time. So, that's how I do it. I always pull with Avenger Shield and Wings to solidify my threat. And I usually pop Heroism right away. You'll see she mana burns. Just make sure to interrupt it by a stun or, really whatever you can. Because the mana burn does suck over time for this fight. Especially when they target the healer. And of course interrupt the priest healer whenever you can. If you can. So then I go, since he's already vanished, I'm going to go on Robin Darius, just because he has the AoE attacks that are kind of a bitch, kind of annoying. So I'll kill him, and by the time he's dead, Morose is back up. Don't forget to judge Wisdom on Morose, just so your DPS can stay high on mana. You'll see over time that when Morose vanishes and he comes back, he applies a poison debuff on people. Well, Garrote, I guess. I used to, back in the day, have to single target heal it because my chain heal wasn't powerful enough. Since then, I've gotten gear, and I've been able to just chain heal him whenever he needs healed. When you first start the fight, you'll probably get 3, maybe 4 people hit with the stuff, but after you get gear and whatnot, it shouldn't be that bad. And even after Morose pops up again, I don't continue killing the ad, I just go right back for Morose, because he's, the threat of the whole thing. And if your character does happen to get zucked by the blind, make sure you go back to your character and straighten him back out, because he'll be out of the fight for the entire time if you don't. But yeah, then you just keep attacking Morose. He'll do his vanish again, and during that time Lady Kyria is healing herself because she doesn't have another target to heal. And as you see, I have 3 Garrotes on me right now, which is kind of high for my gear level, but still completely doable. You see my healer is basically full mana. I did use Mana Tide early fight when my Shaman started getting low, my Elemental Shaman, just because it's easier to do. And that's the fight. So I'll take my Shadow Priest, which is my Disenchanter again, and loot everything, and then I'll loot everything on all the other characters too, so I can get my badges and stuff. And since I took that time to clear all that trash, I just have to go up the stairs and start the combat again, or start more combat. Kind of the same concept here. I LOS pull and fight everything. Park everybody there, pull with whatever I can, bring him back over here. If I happen to get an elite, I'll target him first, get some threat established, and then just start with my Seed of Corruption spam again. And they will all die, so I target the elite that didn't die and whack on it a little bit, and it dies. If you don't have Thunder Fury when you're on one of your tanks, it does get kind of difficult managing threat with those AoE guys. Just be ready to heal the ever-living hell out of your Warlock if that happens. Then of course you get full on space a lot, just sell all the useless crap. I have a lot of enchanting mats already inside my bank, so I usually don't give my enchanter my greens. Well, you have the repair bot out. If you have it, use it to, repair all your tunes just in case. I've done a couple runs where my guys were all red and I didn't realize it until, halfway through the fight, and I'm like, oh, no wonder why nobody's dealing any damage whatsoever. It's not fun. Like I was saying about these mobs, pay attention. If one of your guys gets mind controlled, don't accidentally target him and then blow his ass up, because I've done that more times than I can count, and it's funny, don't get me wrong, but it sucks having to, recover and do all the crap. And like now, see, my blessing is sanctuary wore off, or disappeared, or something. I'm really not sure what happened to it. Gotta pay attention. That's how you keep mana on a paladin. Tank. Oh, it sucks. It overwrites it. Oh well. Again, if you have any stragglers, just target them and kill them. Won't take much. If you're extra lazy like me, you can just target them and throw a hammer at them and it'll die too. Real quick. Real simple. The next room isn't necessarily hard, but it's more tedious than hard, I'd have to say. Because when they switch forms at 50%, they drop all aggro, and sometimes you can't get it back, and it's just horrible. This one is TBC 5-man. And I'm multi-boxing all 5 characters. I'm doing a educational video for a couple people who are asking how to successfully do bosses in Karazhan. Yeah, no problem, man. It's a fun little server, takes 5 people to do all raids versus 25 and, 10 for Karazhan. Adds a lot of enjoyment and fun because you can do everything with 5 people versus having to get 25 competent people to do growls, for instance. Which, I'm out of that phase of my life. I don't want to do that anymore. So the guardsmen do a shield stun whenever you pull them. It's often recommended to hold off DPS until you can get a couple hits off on the guardsmen, just so they don't completely mess you up. The concubines at 50%. If they're close to your raid, they'll sleep everybody. They sleep the tank too, but because the tank is taking damage, it doesn't affect the tank. I've had it a couple times where it timed it just right to where it affected the tank, and it went off and smacked a DPS, which not a big deal. They recovered from that pretty easy. 50% of the guardsmen will summon out a hound. They're pretty simple to kill. Just don't forget about them, because they'll likely run off and start smacking your DPS. Again, this poll can be CC'd if you want, if you don't have the gear, or if you're worried about it, you can CC him. I'm at the gear level where it doesn't really matter, so I just kind of charge in head first and kill him. The Night Mistress, in my opinion, is probably the hardest one, just because it's constant range caster, and her aggro tables seem to be pretty random on who she chooses. Like, I'll have max aggro on my tank, and she'll be shooting crap at my Warlock, or shooting crap at my Elemental Shaman. It's just kind of annoying, so just watch out for that. The hostesses do a silence when they turn to 50%, so just kind of watch out for that too. Again, if they're inside your raid, they'll silence your entire raid. But if it's just a tank, it's just a tank that gets silenced. And you see how they stunned me right away when I pulled them? It's horrible when that happens. The Warlock's not getting attacked, I'm just life tapping. Alright. Maiden of Virtue. This is a fun one. Alright, so with Maiden of Virtue, she has the silence ability when you're melee range, and she has a lot of other really annoying abilities that make Paladin tanking here almost impossible. It's definitely hard. She'll occasionally do that Holy Touch that you just saw, or Holy Light, whatever it is. It's a pretty nasty dot. It's recommended that you have a grounding totem down to absorb it, so you don't have to worry about it. After every 30 or so seconds, she'll do she'll repentance everybody. You have a couple options to deal with this. You can either just tank it out like I do, or I'll show you the other way. Usually right around now, if I was clearing it, I'd step back right here just to get ready. And when she does it, if she does it this time, sometimes you get lucky and she just doesn't do it at all. Looks like now this is one of those times that I got lucky. Sweet. But when she does do it, it's best if you run your tank over them, because repentance wears off whenever damage is done to the mob, or whenever damage is done to the people who have it. So it's really easy to just, hold on, maybe I might get this repentance. My Warlock ran out of mana, I wasn't paying attention. Maybe? There it goes. So, way to do it is you run back here, let it tick once, and it takes off repentance. Just like that. And then of course run out so they can actually cast their spells and heal and all that kind of crap. That way's pretty risky, especially if you don't have a lot of gear on your tank. So you just gotta kind of be wary and be warned about that. Don't die because you want to clear it because you think it's gonna make your raid go smoother. Yeah, so that's Maiden of Virtue. See what she dropped. Tank gloves. Don't need them. Huh. Keep getting healing plate. It's almost like I should go heal on my Paladin. Never gonna happen. And of course, loot them up. Don't forget to loot your badges and tokens and stuff, because that would suck. And of course, doing it multi-boxing is going to be slower than doing it with a raid, but that's why I multi-box, so I don't have to deal with other people trying to rush me or whatever. I can take my time and stir my coals around like I just did, and not have anyone bitch at me because I'm taking forever. So my Paladin buffs have wore off. Generally at this point, since my Paladin buffs have wore off, I'm going to stop and throw down another Naru just to get my buffs back up, because without salvation it's a pain in the ass. And yeah, I'm a paladin, and yeah, I can give everyone salvation. I even have macros for it. But it's just easier to have a Naru to do all the buffs for you. 1 second, my kiddo's awake. And that's another reason why I multi-box. Because I have kids. And sometimes they wake up randomly at 8 o'clock in the morning after they've been up all night. These fights are relatively hard too. They freeze you after a little while. And when they freeze you, they attack the next highest person on threat. There's really no way to counter that. You just gotta heal through. They also pull people in. I don't really know what that's all about, but if you get unlucky, you'll get like your healer pulled in, or if you get really unlucky, you get your DPS pulled in, and you don't realize it until, you know, the mob's halfway dead, and you're like, oh, I guess I probably should back my DPS up. Oops. And there's 2 sets of 2, and then 1 that roams. So you got to be really careful about the roamer, because if you pull him, then, well, you have 3, and that's just a hassle. When you get enough gear, you can usually kill them in 1 cycle, or like before they do their first freeze thingamajigger. But I apparently can't because I suck. So, you know, whatever. Things happen. You can cheese it as a paladin and just bubble yourself out, but that's just too much effort for me. I'll just accept the full duration and just chain heal everybody. Good thing about shamans. Oops. My elemental shaman got caught on something. These mods will put people to sleep. Called bad poetry, something like that. And they'll also do that little thing right there, which just increases their damage dealt by a little bit. Sometimes it's worth moving them out, but if you have the stage hands too, the stage hands will root you, so you can't move. So I've kind of just adjusted to the point where I stand still and just let them do their thing. They explode when they die, deal some damage. If they're inside the light thing, they do more damage when they explode. I don't remember how much more damage. I think it's like 50% more. Let me see right now, actually. Yeah, 50% more. In live, they used to stack on you if you stood in it, like you'd be able to get the damage boost. In this server, it does not. So there's no point in moving them out and standing in it with one of your DPS. It's just a waste of time. You notice when I press 2, it uses Consecration and Holy Shield. When I press 2, it activates Shift 5 and Shift 6. When I press 3, it activates Shift 7. On my other bars, on my other characters, they have abilities there too, like Flame Shock or Shock, random things like that, just to make it proc whenever I use it as well. And if you get random purple items, you sell them. Or if you're a disenchanter on that character, you do disenchanting. 4532. Now it's the opera event. Let's see what we got. Ooh, Romeo and Juliet. So for Romeo and Juliet, I don't move my characters. There's no need to spread them out. There's nothing that they do that does AoE damage, so there's no point in spreading out your characters. You can just keep them all clumped up with one. I do usually put our shield up on my tank for this, because I most of the time just don't even bother healing myself. They don't deal a lot of damage at all. And it starts out with Juliet, or whatever the hell her name is in the non-copywritten version first, and then it goes Romeo, and you do both of them together. So like I said, the fight's pretty simple. It's pretty straightforward. Yeah, you can dispel that if you want to, but if you have a mage, you can spell steal it too, make you do more damage. But again, I have no reason to dispel it, or that's really all I can do. I don't have a mage in this group. Use this time to use your mana gaining abilities, whether it be life tap or whatever, while you're waiting for Romulon to spawn, Romulo. Remember, most bosses in TBC are untauntable, so give your tank enough time that you need to gain aggro so you don't pull aggro and die. And also Curse of Elements. I usually forget to do it on non-progressive fights just because I've done the fights before and I don't really need to have that extra damage. It's nice, it makes the fight quicker, but yeah. I'm not going to be using Heroism right away. I'm going to wait until they both come out together, and then I'm going to pop Heroism and kill them both. And then remember, they have to die at the same time or within 5 seconds of each other, or they respawn, which is kind of horrible. I usually start the fight with Juliet, or Julianne, or whatever the hell her name is, and smack her around a little bit. When I get her down to about 30%, I switch. She does heal. It's pretty uncommon to see her heal, but there's multiple times where she has healed and has completely cucked my fight, so just be warned. I forgot Heroism too, and I'm probably not going to pop it now. It's a waste of time. You'll see she dies pretty much the same time he does, or will die pretty much the same time he does, just by my off attacks that are happening. Chain Lightning, sometimes random Seed of Corruptions, Consecration, Holy Shield, things like that. But if I get down to about there and she's not dead yet, I click over to her and kill her. That's the fight. Pretty simple. Of course, loot and see what they have. Ooh. It's not a bad one. I guess I'll take that for... Oh, I already have one apparently. Good to know. I usually clear the Patreons, or whatever they're called, for their gold. But since I'm streaming, I'm not going to. You can easily get a good couple hundred gold by doing it. It's really, really, really easy to do. They don't hit for crap, etc. But again, since I'm streaming, I'll just hearth out, go back to the Karazhan, go back door, and summon everyone. I'm going to do Nightbane next. I fully expect to wipe at least once on him. I don't quite have his strategy down all the way yet. I usually die a couple times. If you're on the TBC server, it's always up here in the top left-hand corner, and it's always the left portal to get there. You can run your entire team with auto follow and jump and key duplicates and stuff like that, but it's much easier if you have Naru just to summon everyone. I mean, I'm lazy, that's why I do it, but you want to run your characters, good on you, but not for me. Far too lazy to do that. I don't know how I missed my healer, but okay. And since he's summoned, I might as well get brand new buffs. Why can't I summon my healer? Let me hearth out. Maybe that's the problem. Some hiccups along the way, but it works. There we go. And of course there's little monsters around here. These guys do a hit curse that every time they apply it to you, your hit gets reduced by like 15% or something. It sucks, but completely controllable. I usually go through the entire thing with 5 stacks, and it usually goes away by the time I get ready to fight Curator. But like I said, we're going to do Nightbane first, because that sounds like fun. For Nightbane, I park all my DPS and my healers. I park everybody. Right here along this cove. Nightbane drops right about here or so. And I need to re-explain that because I didn't have the time that I was starting recording it. Hold on. No, we'll start at 54. Alright, so Nightbane. Nightbane's pretty simple. You get the urn from the badge vendor, and you come over here, use it. I stack my DPS right over there, to park my tank right here. It's a pretty difficult fight. It took me quite a long time to get him down the first time. But since then I've learned some strategies and some stuff to make it easier, like don't go ham right away. Let your tank get aggro. That's kind of important because Nightbane is again a boss and cannot be taunted. The cool little bar that says when he's gonna drop and all this other kind of crap. Reposition him to where he's seen just like that. Make sure you have a tremor totem down because he does fear and smoldering breath. And you have to watch out if you're multi-boxing. You have to watch out for Char Earth. He'll cast it underneath your Toons' feet. You just need to move your tunes. It doesn't do a lot of damage, thankfully, at least not right away. So you have enough time to get over and move your characters before it does anything too detrimental. So it's kind of nice. And here's the fear. And sometimes the fear lasts basically the entire freaking duration, which is horrible. Don't forget to actually heal your character because, you know, it's horrible when you do. At 75%, he goes up in the air. He spawns Rain of Bones. And, yeah. You kill the Rain of Bones, and then he lands again, and you continue DPSing him. So, 75%, he goes up in the air. You have a choice. You can continue DPSing him when he's up in the air. It makes the fight go by quicker, by all means necessary. I don't recommend doing it, just because it's honestly it's a struggle. Because when he lands, he doesn't have any threat whatsoever. So if you have abilities queued up that you are attacking him when he lands, his threat is completely reset, and you have to reobtain aggro with your threat, or with your tank. And that's just a pain in the ass to do. Yeah, he does that Rain of Bones thing, it kind of hurts. I usually toss down Manatite here just so I can keep everybody alive. You'll see the air phase is ending in 15 seconds, so I get back in the tank position where the tank is supposed to be, and in about 5 seconds I stop all casting, I stop everything, so when he lands, I don't have to worry about stupid aggro. And then right when he lands, I start healing again because, you know, it's important to make sure you guys don't die. And I'll even use hotkeys to get out of that mess. And see, that's what happens right there. Your DPS starts getting smacked, your healer starts getting smacked, and then it's just over. Damn it. Alright. Well, this attempt was a wipe. So I shall get back and re-explain it. Hate this boss. Get mana and hit points, get another Naru down, and start this crap again. Alright, so for Nightbane, he spawns right here. I usually put my DPS group right here, just to have them kind of chill out and, wait. I do have Tremor Totems down on both Shamans, because he does fear, and that's annoying. But easily counterable with Tremor Totem. Sometimes the fear lasts a full duration, which I never will understand why, but, so I guess that's not really my business. When he gets around 6 seconds or so, I'll throw down, or 5 seconds, I'll throw down Consecration, I'll pop my wings, and I'll, start in on attempting to get aggro on him. And then, when everything is good to go, I start DPS on my DPS. He'll occasionally do Charred Earth under your DPS. That's when you gotta move, gotta pay attention and move, so you don't get killed by the AoE. Lucky enough, the damage the AoE does is not really, it's kind of admissible. Like, you can just, honestly not really pay much attention to it. You do have to move, though, because it will kill you over time. I don't pop Heroism on this one until the 3rd phase when he lands for the last time, just because I don't want to get ahead of myself and think, oh yeah, everything's going good, because a lot of the time it is not going good. So, of course, when you're running out of stuff as a multi-boxer, always move your healer first, so you have enough time to heal everyone else, because that's just good. Okay, 75%, he takes off in the air, he'll summon down Rain of Bones, and it'll definitely require some healing, because the AoE does a little bit of damage, not a lot. The skeletons don't have a lot of life at all. You can just nuke them down. You can either see the corruption spam if you want to, or you can just single target like I do. I feel single target gives me better control over them, so I can actually, control who dies first. In this phase, when he's up in the air for the 30 seconds or however long he's up in the air for, use this time to get mana back on your characters that need mana. Whether it be mana potion, life tap, whatever you gotta do. About 8 seconds-ish, don't cast anything else, because when he lands, that will happen, and he'll attack your, whoever's casting stuff. Make sure your Tremor Totem's down consistently, because he'll land and he'll fear, just like that. And sometimes you can get lucky, and his fear doesn't actually do jack diddly, like that time. That was nice. You'll get Charred Earth under the tank. I recommend just healing through it, so you don't have to reposition your entire team in your tank, and it's annoying if you have to do that. So heal through it. If you're a warrior, use shield wall, last stand, do what you gotta do. When the stuff goes underneath your DPS, make sure you move your healer first, like I said, just so he doesn't cuck your tank. You have no time to heal. 50%, he goes up in the air again for a 2nd air phase. This is the time I like to put down Mana Tide for my casters and stuff, just to get them back up to par with their mana. When he does fear, check to make sure he didn't mess up your your rotation where you were standing, whatever. So, yeah, this one I like to throw down Mana Tide just to be safe. A lot of the time I won't really need Mana Tide, but some of the time I do. Elemental Shamans are notorious for running out of mana, and the reason why they run out of mana so quick and easy is because your water shield drops and you're not paying attention, like me. I never pay attention to my water shield on my Shaman. Ever. Either one of them. But I have a 1-button thing that gives me my water shield buff again on them. So, again, around 8 seconds or so, don't cast anything. Just sit back, chill, and wait for him to land again. Because when he does land, you need a second to build a threat. And as always, keep an eye on your character's placements for when he casts his bullshit ability. It looks like he cast it under the tank this time, maybe? Nope, he just cast it. It was under the healer. So yeah, like I said, move out. Make sure you can move out. keep heals on everybody so they don't die. Your tank obviously is the most important to keep alive. At 25, he will go up in the air again for the last time, and that's when, that's when you really got to be prepared, because when he lands again, he'll, that's the last time he'll go up in the air. He doesn't have an enrage timer, so you're fine usually. And again, if you're not paying attention like I am right now, your tank might die because I'm not paying attention. 25%. Get up in the air. All right. It's up in the air for the last time. You'll see my elemental shaman is out of mana, which is extremely unfortunate, but it does happen a lot. During this time, I like to reposition everyone back to where they're supposed to be so they don't get cucked later on. Like I said again, about 8 seconds, stop casting, let your tank reposition, and while he's up in the air is a good time to reapply your judgment, or just apply in general if you haven't, like I did in this entire fight, and use your mana ganging stuff on your healer or your whoever needs it, and pop heroism. When he lands for that last time, because, well, he's down on the ground, you're going to kill him this round, or this time. Hopefully. If you've done everything correctly, the boss just dies. Again, keep an eye on your caster group and stuff, because they might get hit with bad stuff. And make sure your healer is actually on the correct bar instead of sitting there spamming freaking chain heal. Good job. I win. That was actually a really, really, really clean battle. I like that. Alright. What do you drop? Anything good? Well, that's a good healing neck. And I think I actually have better on my healer though. I think I have the TK neck. I do. Cool. So this is a Priest Loot in DE. Alright, and that was Nightbane. Got my second attempt too. Yay me. Next is Curator. The only boss that won't die, I won't even try him tonight, I might do him tomorrow, is Netherspite. Takes a lot of coordination when you're multi-boxing and doing Netherspite. I think I have a way to do it, but I haven't really had the stones to test it yet. This guy does an AoE, frontal AoE, Cone of Cold. It does a lot of damage, especially to people who are not the tank, who have, a bunch of HP. Be really careful with that. When you pull him, I usually pull him and turn him around, just so he doesn't breathe on my group. Ideally, these are the ones you want to get, unless you have someone who can dispel curses, though. Because that way you don't have to worry about having 50% or 75% or whatever it is at maximum stack of minus a chance, because that sucks. I should go and mana up here just because I don't have any mana on the tank. My Elemental Shaman has basically, as far as healing goes, the same setup as Health tracker, isn't that the, yeah. That's the same setup as my main healer, except my F1 on my main healer heals my tank, but my F1 on my shaman heals my elemental shaman. My F2 heals the healer and heals the warlock. It's set up to like not coexist with each other, just because when I had it set up that way, a lot of the time when like the warlock needed extra heals or whatever, and I would go to heal the warlock, he would get overhealed and it would waste my mana, and I'm trying to avoid doing that. And sometimes that happens too, when you just try your best not to let someone die, but they die because these guys hit so freaking hard. Yeah, see, a chance to reduce, or a chance to hit reduced by 15%. That sucks when you're on curator, especially when you have full stacks. And since someone died, I will Naru again. A lot of people say I waste Narus, but usually about, I would say between the pay periods, so every 2 weeks, I probably spend about $50 on the server, and it's literally just Narus that I get, basically, because I don't run out of anything else. And my personal opinion is you support a good cause. And I personally love the idea of the server. I've always wanted to play on a 5-man server because I am a multi-boxer. And I played multi-box WoW, which is Fury Swipe's old server with 40 characters, and that was fun. But 40 characters is a lot to control. So if I can get away with controlling 5 people and doing raids, I'm going to get away with doing 5 people and doing raids. I haven't really dabbled in much more than a couple bosses in SCC and a couple bosses in TK. Solarian and Void Reaver, Fathom Lord, and Hydros are the only ones that I've dabbled with. I'm going to need some more time learning the fights. Like, I know the fights, but I need more time learning them in a multi-box perspective. So, yeah, see, that's why I healed up on the Warlock, because I knew he was going to die, or going to get hit. And I hate when these guys are immune. Angers me. Anyway, I only got 1 stack this time, so that's good. These trash mobs do overload on you, which causes your character to tick 5 times and take increasing damage with each tick. I stack my characters on top of each other, just again because I have the gear for it, so I can get away with it. It's recommended you spread out on these ones so the overload doesn't kill you. It's also recommended that your freaking tank gets the overload versus anyone else because, well, it's just your tank doesn't get hit by anything else. So, but you'll see it's doing moderate damage to the group. A couple chain heals and you'll out heal it, no problem. These mobs are a pain in the ass, putting it lightly. They don't really have an aggro table, so whenever they're smacking the tank when the tank first pulls them, it's very likely that your healer is going to pull off your tank, just because your healing causes threat. I don't know exactly how their threat works, but I do know that every time I do these mobs, I'm constantly chain healing my healer because my healer gets aggro on them every single time. It's not so bad when you have a geared healer, but without a geared healer, I can definitely see where this would be a pain in the ass thing to do. And I also usually don't have my characters following me. That was an oopsie moment. Anyway, so as you see, normal threat, everything's fine, and then I pop off with 1 heal. And he goes, ooh, a healer, and starts smacking my healer. So I try not to heal until I'm down to just these guys, which these guys I already have threat on because they take damage instead of mana. Oh, that's the other thing. Those big mobs, they have a mana bar. You have to drain their mana bar in order to kill them. You can cheese it if you want and get like mana burn and stuff like that on your bars and use that, or you can just do it the way I did and just mana mode. I've never used the... Well, in live I did. In live I used the mana trick, but in this I've always just used straight up DPS. Seems to be more reliable anyway. Unfortunately, I do have to heal, so the healer's gonna get aggro. Yep, there it is. See, every single time. It's because he doesn't. It's because you're not dealing actual damage to him, so your threat is basically null and void. And since no one else is dealing damage to him either, the only thing that's dealing threat is the heal. Just like if I had a Searing Totem down, he would attack the Searing Totem. Or no, he wouldn't, because... Huh, I actually wonder how that works. Probably not, though, because it doesn't generate threat. Because it's not hitting his actual hit points. There are easier ways to beat these mobs. I don't know how, but I've seen multiple groups that I've been with just go right through the shield and just instantly do damage to him. Again, I don't know how they did it. I don't really care. It's not really something I'm concerned about because I can actually kill these mobs with little to no issue. And it's best to be out free-for-all loot for these mobs because they drop the mana motes, and having all your mana motes on one character, not having to loot 80 million corpses with your characters is a rather nice little touch, if you ask me. And again, I don't need any of this crap, so I'll make sure you put those up there. I've thought about keeping those just for the sole fact of the dodge. I don't really need them. And if I do, they'll drop again. Hi, Curator. Curator's fun. He's easy, but fun. He is buggy, though. If he happens to bug out during this kill, I'm going to post a video to Yahtzee and have him see if he can fix it. It doesn't happen all the time, but occasionally when you pull him back to where you're supposed to kill him in the group, or, you know, when people are in range or whatever, or how I do it, I should say, he'll randomly just de-aggro, and that's the end of it. Like, it's over. Then you have to re-pull him again and re-kill him again. It's quite annoying, actually. Sometimes you get lucky and you don't have to, though. It happened a lot when I first started pulling and killing him. In fact, that's usually how I soft reset the fight, is I backed up so he would return back to wherever he was while I was learning the fight. When you're first doing the fight, I guess I'll go over it when it's curator time, just because the boss videos are different than the entire VOD. So I'll go over it again when I'm on the fight. I usually have music or something playing in the background, but since this is an educational type thing for Karazhan clear, I'm not going to. Well, not clear everything but fucking Netherspite, because I'm not going to do that AIDS boss tonight. Might be a second stream where I attempt him and see if I can't kill him, but not tonight, or today. It's tonight for me. I work graveyards, and it's 8:30. I've been off work for an hour and a half, so, you know. Alright, that's all the mobs. So now we bring everybody up and in. Now how I do it is, I guess, interesting, maybe semi-complicated to some people, but it works for me, so that's why I do it. I will walk around and show you where I position everyone, because everybody is positioned a little bit differently, and it always seems to work. Alright. I'll start the timer now. I guess I'll start it in just a minute when he starts walking back. I'll start it. Make it easy. Waiting. Okay, we'll start now. Curator fight. I position all my characters where they're far enough apart to where they won't get hit by the astral spark. To pull the boss, I use Judge of Wisdom, and I pull him back to about right here. When he's on his way back here, I make sure to shield him, drop Consecration, and start DPSing. There are multiple ways that you can do this fight. You can have a macro that does /target astral flares, which is a very, 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 very easy way of doing things, where you can do it the way I do it, and just target them. That's a little more difficult. Sometimes I run into a problem where I can't actually target them, and then there's usually a flare or two up, which sucks horribly, especially when, you know, you have to kill them. Well, don't have to, but it's a good idea to kill them all. You'll notice that when I do attack them, my DPS stop attacking Curator and start attacking the flares. That's part of the macro to where it stops all functions and starts attacking whatever target is my guy's attacking. And you'll also see that when he pops that, I tend to forget about the other ad, so I have to target over and kill him. Alright, now we pump our damages out on this guy, because he takes increased damage when he's evocating. And then right when he gets done with that, I usually jump on my characters, because it's not a hard aggro reset, it's definitely a soft one, but he does keep his threat that you were attacking with. So that 200 bonus damage or 500 bonus damage or whatever it is still there. So it's horrible for DPS. On your Warlock, if you have one, just Shatter Soul. It works really well. If it's on the tank, if the Astral Flare is on the tank, I never attack it, just because the Astral Flare doesn't really do anything to my tank. So yeah, at 15% he will stop spawning flares, and he'll stop going in evocation and just start smacking your face. It does hurt, you do need to heal quite a bit. Hateful bolts do like more damage, everything just does more damage, but other than that, the fight's pretty simple. And just like that, the Curator is dead. Ta-da! Slowly drop. What did he drop? Oh look, Paladin, Rogue, Shaman. How wonderful. Not something I need. But, you know, I don't need anything from here. Moving on. If I had to say I died anywhere, or I die anywhere, it would definitely be here. This is the place I die the most. I hate these mobs with an undying passion. I think they're stupid. I think they're a waste of time. But this is an easier route than taking the stairs, for sure. So I jump everyone down here, position them all correctly, and then pull the mana feeders. These mana feeders, unlike live version, are not only attackable by melee, they can be attacked by ranged spells too, which is good. I remember when I first started and I was here, I was really upset with myself because I have 3 casters. I was like, oh shit, I'm not going to be able to kill these guys. Well, much to my surprise, they are able to be killed. This little bastard right here will come back and like invade your space, and Torment of Worgen, I'll explain the books here too, just in case you haven't dealt with the books. Torment of Worgen is a melee DPS book. What it does is it has a chance to turn you into, it does additional shadow damage with range or melee attacks. It turns you into a Worgen and you do more damage. It's a really good book. I use it on my tank if I can't find the tank version. And with these guys, I forgot to mention, they have a really nasty AoE. It doesn't matter if you turn them around or not, you're still going to get the AoE. It's done by the spark that he spawns. You could target the spark and kill it, but it just makes more sense to just target the boss and just, or not the boss, but target the mob and just go all out on them. This guy likes to come and invade your personal space too, so, you know, be ready to smack him around too. He'll do the Arcane Fist thing that if it's not your tank tanking it, you'll die. Almost guaranteed every time. He will just smash your face and you'll die. So just be warned of that. And I try to get all the books just because I feel that they're useful. There's 4 books. There's Torment of the Worgen, there's Redemption of the Fallen, there's Wrath of Titans, which is amazing for casters. What it does is it grants additional harmful spell, or grants your harmful spells additional chance to deal damage. I give it to the person who casts the most, which is likely my Elemental Shaman. I would say it's a mix between my Elemental Shaman or my Shadow Priest. Warlock does cast a lot, but when it comes to that book, those 2 characters will benefit most from it. And then Redemption of the Fallen. That is a healing book. Every time you, not every time, you have a chance every time you cast a spell to summon out a woeful healer that will heal your group mates as well. The other one is a tank one, I think is a Legacy of the King. It has, when it procs, it increases your strength and all that kind of crap too. No, armor. Sorry, not strength, armor. And other stuff too. I try to check every book possible, just because getting all my casters with Wrath of Titans is pretty sexy, actually. Helps the fights go by a lot quicker too. Between that and heroism and everything else that, you know, you tie into the bonus damage that they get. Be careful pulling these guys. Sometimes that can happen where you get extra mobs or just really bad things happen. There's been a couple times where I've pulled them incorrectly and I've gotten like 3 of them, and it's usually a wipe. Recovery from that would be like heroism, drums. I mean, I'm trash kind of silly, I know, but drums and heroism will save your ass a lot of the time if you pull too many. Or if you're like me and like to pull a lot and like to have challenges, that's what you do. To pull a lot and have challenges. You can usually avoid that mob. He usually won't come. I say usually because there's been times where he did, and other times where he did not. Really depends on your positioning, your group's positioning, where you're killing things at, etc. There's a lot of factors that go into whether or not he gets pulled. And then I usually fade over here, just so he doesn't pull, because again, I don't want to fight him. In theory, the next mob that gets fought is that one on the stairs. That's theory, though. We'll see. I'm getting mana for the paladin right now. But you'll see I keep the Wood Fury scroll up all the time. If I forget it, and I'm on a boss fight when I forget it, I usually just kind of smack myself in the face and you dumbass, because it's awesome. It does a lot. It's very helpful. Very helpful for threat, very helpful for everything else. Most of the time for these guys, I actually forgot. Most of the time for these guys, I usually put back on just my cudgel. Its threat per second is better against single targets than Thunder Fury. And since this is a single target fight, it just makes more sense to have it on versus Thunder Fury. I'll make a video probably about how to multi-box, how to get everything all set up, how to get started, and then just like do a quick intro of my macros and stuff like that, just to give people a general idea of what exactly goes on for multi-boxing using the program that I use. It's not my program, so I can't say my program, but using the program I use. And yeah, it'll be posted to YouTube. You'll be able to click and download everything, get it all taken care of, and if you have any questions after you download it, you can hit me up on Discord. I'm Mr. Mittens. You hit me up there and I can walk you through how to do it and give you the macros and teach you how to multi-box. The slogan of the multi-boxer that I use, like his macros and stuff, is multi-box in 5 minutes. Anybody can do it, and it's true. Anybody can multi-box in 5 minutes. The spell shades randomly disappear, and then they reappear, and sometimes they'll aggro you, sometimes they won't. They're really annoying mobs. Really annoying. So just be careful. You don't wanna die. This next trash pull, or trash pulls, I should say, are really, really annoying if you don't have stuns. I have one, the Paladin. I didn't spec into it on any other characters, like the Warlock doesn't have Shadow Fury, things like that. What you want to do is you want to pull the Mana Warp, stick to the left side of the room so you don't aggro everything else. You want to pull the Mana Warp and the Horrors and stuff and get the Mana Warp down to about, I don't know, 30% and stun it. And then continue on killing the rest of them, and he won't explode on you. The explosion really does take time out of your clear because you have to sit down and med after it. You'll see it on this one. So if you don't stun the Mana Warp, this is what happens. Boom. Just dealt a ton of damage to my entire raid. That quick. Really annoying. Not really much you can do to counter it besides stun him, like I said. A lot of the books, they're empty, and they don't apply like a curse or a debuff or anything like that when they show up that they're empty. They literally just do a cool little animation and then disappear. I think that's how it was in live too. I don't really remember much of getting books. I was always the one who was, killing stuff and doing tanking and stuff. I never grabbed book because we always had people who would pull stuff before I was ready. So I never got the luxury of getting books really in life. So again, Mana Warp when it's down to like 30%, stun it. That was 50%, that might have been too... Nope, perfect. Get going this way, you have to pull 3 shades and 2 of the magical horror groups, and then you're done. So, it's a lot quicker than going through the middle where you have to pull like 5 or 6 and waste time. And then again, Spell Shade will disappear if you don't hit it and keep it out of its invisibility. But while it's in its invisibility, you can still aggro it. So, yeah, it'll still walk up and be like, oh, hey, I saw you before I went invisible. I'm not going to attack you because I'm a little sissy la-la, but I still saw you. You know how it goes. So, this pack up here is just 4 Spell Shades. They invis and come uninvis, and you just pull them and kill them. Just like all the other mobs. They're pretty simple. If all 4 of them attack at once, they do actually quite a bit of damage. Like if they run a healer, let's say, it's quite a bit of damage. But if you're lucky enough to pull them with the tank, you saw that it brought me down to 3/4 hit points. So, I mean, it's not that bad. This next pull is a doozy for me. I have a hard time doing this pull. A lot of the time I get really close to dead. I usually cheese it and pull it up there and behind the wall and all that kind of stuff, but I've been doing it this way lately and it seems to be working. It's just they just deal so much damage. Like all of them they just deal so much damage so quick. It's so hard to counter it. And of course then the healer gets aggro and then you have to switch from healing the tank to healing the healer so the healer doesn't die, and then you have to heal the DPS because they're shit aggro the mobs, and it turns into a nightmare. I usually kill the Shadow Pillagers first just because they do the most damage. If you aren't at a point where you can take this damage, I would highly recommend bringing them around the wall, using your tank with Earth Shield if you have a Shaman healer, or Hots if you have any other healer, Shield, etc. Do whatever you can to mitigate damage, and pull them back. And then that way they're all funneled into one area, and then you don't have to, you can actually tank them all. And while you're tanking them all, just make sure you're spamming the hell out of your tank with heals, or else you're gonna die. What do you mean you have to heal? That's crazy. It's like you're a healer or something. Wow. Anyway, and here's Ilhoof, in case you didn't know. And it's literally when you clear that room, it's called a strange bookshelf or bookcase. You walk up to it, right click it, and you can come down the hallway to kill Ilhoof. Which I'll explain his fight too in just a second. The the pre-thing to his fight is a room full of homunculus, which they're incredibly easy. Again, if you have the gear or the time or whatever, just warlocks through corruption and everything dies. Pretty simple. Before the boss, I'm probably going to pop another room just because I'm running low on my paladin buffs, and I want my paladin buffs for this fight. This fight was probably one of the more challenging ones when I was doing it. There's a lot to do, there's a lot to manage, for multi-boxing especially. So you have to be on your toes. If you're not on your toes, you will die. There is no ifs, ands, or buts about that. You will just drop like a sack of rocks. I've noticed a paladin tank for this is a lot better than a warrior tank. I do have a warrior tank, and he was my main for the longest time, but I switched to the paladin tank, and when I did, I stopped having issues with this fight. Paladin tank is great because of what he does, which again I'll get into when I start the recording for his fight, which will be here in just a second when I get mana. Alright, Ilhoof. Pretty simple fight. Fight starts out with Ilhoof and his little butt buddy, Kilrek. You kill Kilrek first, and then you kill Ilhoof. I put everybody in my team right about here, and I keep Ilhoof over there with his little buddy, Kilrek. And then I tank right here, so I can avoid, so I can collect all of the imps that come out, because this is an imp fight. This is an ad control fight. If you can control the ads in this fight, you're gonna win. Like, there's no question about it. Well, I guess control the ads and be able to kill the sacrifice quick enough. Sacrifice is pretty hard. I'm not gonna lie to you and say it's easy. I've had a lot of issues on it when I was doing this fight at the beginning. So right there, it spawns demon chains and puts someone in demon chains. The healer's job is to make sure, obviously, they don't die. And when they kill him, if you're multi-boxing and standing like how I told you to stand, then you have to turn around and put your character back more where he is. And then he'll spawn Kilrek again, usually when he does the sacrifice, so just, clean him up. Again, after the sacrifice. Usually about now, I'll take my healer and I'll run him up, and I'll drop down my fire elemental totem. And I usually start spamming heals pretty heavy right here because it's almost sacrifice time. And I'll also do the same thing on my elemental shaman, just because those really help clean up the ads. Demon chains are back up. Make sure you switch to them and kill them, because if you don't kill them, you'll die. Make sure to heal the person in the chains if your DPS is slow, like mine was just there for a second, and then go back on Kilrek and kill Kilrek. Every time you kill Kilrek, you'll see Ilhoof get a buff on him that increases his damage by 25%. You could technically not kill Kilrek and still kill the fight. It's completely possible, but I'm just not sure why you would want to. You get the extra damage by killing him, so it makes more sense to just kill him. So other than that, if you stand right here as a paladin tank, you'll see your consecration picks up all the fiendish imps without any issues at all. The only really shitty part, or shitty time, is whenever your healer gets sacrificed. Because then, it's like, well, that sucks. And you see right there, he didn't sacrifice anyone that time. That happens periodically too, and I don't know why it does. I had one fight, like my third kill ever, that he actually didn't spawn, or didn't trap anyone. So, that's that fight. Sorry, I was checking my Facebook. What did he drop? Nothing good. Go, go, disenchant. Throw everybody back on follow. And here we go. To Iran. And of course, on the upper part of this ramp, after you kill Ilhoof, there's more of the spell shades that are annoying as hell. But, you know, same thing. Aggro him with the tank, kill him with DPS, do your thing. A lot of people for this fight will actually switch over to, I wonder why my healer isn't healing. That's not good. What's wrong? Why aren't you healing? Hello? Okie dokie. I will lay hands in. I'm gonna have to fix that before I start the next fight. Good thing it started now instead of on the next fight. That was weird. Usually on Iran, people switch to like a pure DPS team so they can. What is that saying? Weird. So they can, you know, kill him quicker or throw on extra healing gear so you can heal as a tank or, you know, something silly like that. I don't do that. I stay on my tank. I stay tank. I just throw on the cudgel for more damage. So, you know. I'm relogging my healer because it was saying that my tank was out of line of sight, which is weird considering, you know, the healer's I don't know. Where's my healer? Maybe it actually logged him out. Huh. Oh, there it goes. No, whatever. Doesn't matter. Wow. Put my healer all the way back in Ilhoof's room. That's fine. We'll just... I guess I could have used the Warlock to summon him. Oh well. Well, there's my healer. That was really weird. I put him all the way back in Ilhoof's room. In the fuck pit. Or the sacrifice pit, whatever you want to call it. I call it the fuck pit. Dun 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 dun. Iran. Iran's given me a lot of troubles in the past. I was able to kill him successfully multiple times and deem that he was on farm because of how many times I killed it. Let me get ready to write down the time I'm going to start him. Alright, Iran. So with Iran, there's a lot of controversy on how to do Iran, I guess you can say, successfully. I cheesed the fight because there's no reason not to. And by cheese the fight, I mean I put all my DPS right here on these books. And my healer on these books. What happens then is Iran is unable to grab and pull people in when they're on the books. So you don't get cucked by books. Or you don't get cucked by the AoE. You know? The explosion thing, whatever the hell it's called. Lost my train of thought. Anyway, I usually have heroes for this fight. I didn't wait though. I figured just might as well get the fight done and over with because, I mean, once you get the strategy down, he's really not a hard boss. So, this boss, he does not have an aggro table at all. There is no way to keep aggro on him at all. He will summon a blizzard randomly around the room, and it will hit people even if they're standing there. They do need to be healed. You can interrupt his spellcasting by Earth Shock, you know, rank 1, whatever you want to do. It's completely interruptible. He does Arcane Missile, Fireball, and Frostbolt. The Arcane Missile is channeled. Fireball does a lot of damage, and so does the Frostbolt. When he reaches 0% mana, he'll do one of two things. He'll polymorph you first of all, which can be broken if he has a Blizzard, which sometimes he does, and or hold on, Flame Wreath first, because that's important. Flame Wreath, basically, you see a thing that says do not move. Yeah, don't move, because you will die. Like, there's no if, and, or, or buts about it. At 30%, he'll summon off some Cursed Elemental adds, which are annoying as absolute hell, but very easy to kill. After his polymorph is done, sorry, I'm jumping like 3 different things because he did 3 different things at once. After his polymorph is done, after he gets mana back, because that's why he polymorphs you, is to drink. After he does that, he pops back up and does a Greater Fire Blast to everybody. That right there that you see is affecting my priest is another thing he does, Fire Breath. It hurts, it hurts a lot, actually, so you gotta make sure that stays healed. And then this is the second one he'll do. He'll actually drink instead of use a mana potion, because the first time he just used a mana potion and called it good. This time he's actually drinking. And then standing up and doing the Greater Power Blast. And then if you get unlucky like that right there, he'll channel right away the Arcane Missiles, and if you have low gear, you will die to it, because it just does so much damage. 30%, like I said, the ad spawn, you kill the ads, and it's basically a free kill after that. But Flame Wreath, don't move during Flame Wreath, is what basically the gist of it is. Ta-da! I ran dead. What did he drop? Shit and shit. Right? Maybe not shit. Let me go see. 5311. What is this? 51.8. Yeah, definitely shit. Okay. That's fine, whatever, I don't care. And of course, move all your people out. Yeah, see, this time I got lucky and didn't get a single Arcane Nova. The first, like, 2 or 3 times I did this fight, it literally happened, like, 13 frickin' times. It was absolutely horrible. It took forever to kill him, and when I eventually did kill him, as you saw from the video if you're in the 5-man multi-boxing channel, I was like, fuck yeah, I got him, woo! So. Moving on. Once you kill a Ran, you're able to teleport to the Guardian's Library, which is where a Ran is, by the guy at the front or in the back door. Either way. This room is different than the other rooms that have the spell shades because it has a Sorcerer's Shade. The Sorcerer's Shade does an area of effect. Fire, frost, whatever, it's an area of effect this time versus just a single target like the other ones, so it will hit all of your characters. But it's followed by 3 spell shades as well, so just be warned and wary about them. I'm going to sit and get mana back on the Paladin again. And life tap on the Warlock. Next boss we're going to be accomplishing is going to be chess, which can be done solo. So you don't have to worry, when you're multi-boxing, you don't have to worry about anything. I'll walk you through that fight when we do it, of course. But 100% done solo. It's easier with 2 if you want to cheese the encounter, I guess you could say. It's really easy with 2. You put one of your guys inside your enemy team's queen and attack the king. It's pretty funny. Again, we'll get there when we get there. This room is a bit tricky as well. These guys, after so long, will drop their aggro table or so many percent. I really don't know how these guys work mechanically, but they'll drop their aggro and go to whoever is DPSing them. They hit quite hard, actually. But of course, I YOLO things and pull 2 or 3 mobs at once when I know what they do. And see, like, he didn't, but that guy did. And I had throw on this guy too, and the only thing that my elemental shaman did was chain lightning one time. So I don't really know how their aggro tables work, but it's definitely screwy. I think my shaman might die here. Oh, it's looking grim, it's looking grim. Oh, no, because I'm a healer now. Change the F keys, that's all. That's all, change the F keys. Alright. Cool story. Mana. Uh-oh. It's alright. It's alright, he gonna die. We don't die. Tank window's gonna go black for a minute. I gotta reload. Something happened. So, I'll be back in just a second. Maybe it'll come back. What are you doing, OBS? That one. Okay. Maybe. What's going on? Okay, what about Hill BC? Okay, that's Hill BC. So what about this one? Isn't that just weird? Just not want to capture my tank's window. Okay, we'll do that. And we'll go back to that one. Why are you not capturing? I don't know why it's not working. Hold on, I will fix it. 'Cause yeah, it captures my healer. Okay, so why not my tank? Doesn't work either. Okay. I'm gonna reload my tank window again. Maybe there's a bug or something. Okay, try again. There it goes. Okay. Good. Good. That's weird. I wonder why it didn't load. Alright, back for the fun. Oh, let's go. Now make it rain. Now make it rain. Oh, we got aggro. Chain heal. Alright. Legacy of the Mountain King, that's what the tanking was called. Did that go? Alright, chess is a little bit different. It is completely soloable, or you can cheese it, like how I do. I'm a Horde character, so of course on all your screens click play as Horde. But the actual problem with that, though, is it doesn't actually let you play as Horde. It will actually completely tell you that you cannot play. It's very weird. But it is soloable if you want to solo it, or what you can do is you can put one of your multi-boxing tunes controlling the Conjurer. And when you start it with whatever faction you are, of course. If you're all Alliance, then cool, you can do it really easy. If you're one Horde and 4 Alliance like I am, I can't start it on Alliance, but yeah. So then you control, and then on your other character, you control, and you target the king, and start shooting your laser bolts at him. And then you take control of this grunt, if he's still accessible. Sometimes he's not. And you move him. And then you go all the way over to the same grunt in the same area and move him too. What this does is prevent the mobs from getting up close to the demons, which the demons are pretty useful here. So you gotta, find a way to stop them from doing that. And then here, you have to do it based on what your outlook is here. So because of how close he is to the king, I'm not going to worry about moving the one from the king in front of it. I will take this grunt instead and move him in front of King Leoric. You gotta watch out for the cheating. The cheating is, horrible, and you have to jump out of your warlock to take care of it. But yeah. So with the warlock, of course, you target King Lane, and you'll see that he's already basically half life. That's because your Conjurer is still attacking him too. So this is a way to cheese the fight. Makes it real simple. And before you know it, no, didn't choose the right place this time, did you, bastard? Before you know it, you're a winner! Yay, you win! Pretty easy fight. Still more paladin healing crap. I'm telling you. It's telling me to go healing. But I don't like healing. Especially not on paladin. So I will never heal on a paladin. Oh. Really? Inventory's full. Bear with me. My priest's inventory is full. I have to disenchant some things. So there's going to be just nothing on that screen for a minute, because again, I'm on my priest. That's a lot of crap I got to DE, actually. I'll just DE a couple and go back. Just so we can keep on with the recording and not have it all foobarred. No, I think that's everybody. It is. Let's go. Alright, and for the final battle, it is Prince. Not a problem, Metapal. I'm glad I can help. I have all the bosses that I'm able to kill recorded. I don't know. You said you're watching, so I assume you can hear me. But I have all the bosses that I can kill recorded. This is Prince, the last one, so you'll see how Prince is done too, since that was one of your concerns. What is the Prince fight? Oh, nice. Good job, man. Glad to hear it. Glad to hear it. Yeah, I'll be uploading the full video onto YouTube or Twitch or something. I'm not sure where the full video is going to be, but all the boss fights will be clipped and put into a YouTube channel that will be posted inside the Discord for anybody that needs help with these bastards. I have them all time-stamped and stuff too. So, we'll see if I get lucky today, because there's been the last like 4 or 5 times that I've tried to do this crap. I got zucked 10 ways from Sunday. Inferno drops right on the tank, Inferno drops halfway between the tank and the healer, and then you can't move up the Shadow Priest, so 90% or 30% of your damage is gone. It's horrible. Or I'll just straight up forget to move the Shadow Priest and get blasted by Shadow Nova. So, but during the Prince fight, I'll actually activate the Shadow Priest window, so you can see what I do on the Shadow Priest versus the tank perspective, because the tank perspective is boring as hell. I literally just stand there and press one button. So, that's boring. But I'll end up probably trying Netherspite tomorrow. I haven't killed him yet, like at all. So tomorrow will be or later on tonight, I guess. I work graveyard, so this is basically still a day for me. No, Thunder Fury is not the way to go all the time. Definitely not. I'm far too lazy to switch out my weapon as many times as I need to. So I always keep it on just because the bonus threat is really nice. But like my cudgel, which is what I'm going to be using for Prince, gives me more threat. And with this fight I need more threat because my Warlock just absolutely decimates me in threat every single time. Thunder Fury's sick though. I mean, if you have a shitty weapon, it's definitely 100% worth it to go for it. Basically, if you don't have a weapon that has spell power on it, you want Thunder Fury. If you have a weapon that has spell power on it, probably use that, because I guess I really don't know. I think you're a paladin. You are meta paladin, I assume. Anyway, with the spell power on the weapon, it's just amazing. Oh yeah, the buffers. They're the Naru runes. They're found on the donator thing. You can vote a full day and get like 4 of them sent to your box or something, I think. And you have 4 of them. I donate about $50 every 2 weeks and just buy a shit ton of them because I want to. You know? Alright. Prince. You should look into it. It's pretty awesome. You gotta keep your eye out for the Naru things. So I couldn't find them for the longest time, and then I opened my eyes and found them. So, good luck. Okay, I'm gonna start the explanation of the Prince fight real quick, and then do the Prince fight, and then activate my Priestess window, of course. Let me do that really quick. I'll activate my Priest window. Oops. Right there. Make sure it loads. Okay, perfect. That looks choppy as hell, actually. That's fine. That's fine. Whatever. Alright, so this is the Prince fight. What I usually do to check my range is I'll use the healer to heal consistently until it turns red, where I cannot heal him anymore. And then I know that's the range I need to do the shadow things at. You'll notice for this fight, I actually went ahead and switched to my priest. The priest is much more exciting to watch than the tank, so that's why it's on the priest instead of the tank. So positioning is literally this entire fight. You literally it's positioning. So what you want to do with your raid is get them within casting range of the boss, but not too close to get cucked over. You'll see in the Shadow Priest, basically nothing is being done right now. The reason why is because that right there that goes out will one-shot you, of course, if you get hit by it. So once it goes off, I move the Shadow Priest up, and I start DPSing rather with the Shadow Priest. And like I said, it's more fun to watch the Shadow Priest. It may look a little grainy because my Shadow Priest window is actually really freaking small. So yeah, I know I got 3 pixels on my freaking Shadow Priest. Like I said, his window is very small, so it's bad. And then when he casts his thing, I run him back, and then he pops off, and I run him back in again. And I'll use drums now, probably, just to speed up the fight a little bit. And scroll of elements, curse of elements, whatever the hell it is. Oh shit, I should know my tank. I sometimes forget to heal my tank. And then, of course, run back in and cape the DPS. Soul Shatter on the Warlock, because the Warlock was getting real close to threading him. So, it's always a good thing to watch your threat. Oop, right away. So right about now, he starts getting really beefy. Starts hitting, decently hard. At least. I pop here around 40% just to make the fight go by a little quicker. And at 30%, he will send his weapons out to attack people, but during the enfeeblement, you want to make sure all of your DPS is at 40-yard range, and watch for the infernals too, so you don't get zucked by the infernals, which happens quite often. And at 30%, he will summon his weapons out, and he no longer does enfeeblement. Which means, for a Shadow Priest, I can stand right where I'm at and not get killed, because again, he no longer does the enfeeblements. So, huzzah. But he'll still knock back because of Shadow Nova, which is, you know, I mean, whatever. Knock back all you want with Shadow Nova there, buddy. There, buddy. But just like that, in a second, when I move my Warlock and stuff up. Yeah, I know, is he? I told you, sometimes I just don't pay attention to the tank's hit points, and he just kind of dies. He just kind of gets zucked in his face. And done. Ta-da! Just like that. Fight's over. Nice and simple. What did he drop? Gorhal. Sweet. Warrior Priest Druid and Gorhal. I'll take Gorhal. Make it a sexy little thing there. Warrior Priest Druid. I have a helmet. I don't have a healing one though, so I guess I'll take it for healing. Anyway, that is that. You will see all the videos when I upload them to YouTube and post them inside the Discord chat. Like I said, tomorrow or later on today, I guess I'll try to do Netherspite too, so you can see a video of that. I have a general idea of how to do it, but I have not had the confidence to do it, because the 3 times I tried the fight, I got him down to like 20%, and then he healed the full because I'm an idiot. So, yeah, story of my life. So, anyway, my friend, I'm glad I could help. That's my team. That's hilarious. Yeah, I've had that happen quite a few times where everything is just completely screwed over. It is horrible. But anyway, like I said, I'll have everything all up and ready for you here in a little bit, and actually I'll probably have it all posted and stuff by tomorrow, and we'll go from there. If you have any questions, feel free to ask. I'm more than happy to help you out. Have a good one, man.